Bitcoin is getting a little bit of relief after tagging the 90K area, but the question we must ask ourselves is this just a relief rally, or will this be fueling the market higher as we head into the new year? In today's video, we'll be going over the recent market conditions for Bitcoin and altcoins, as well as a very important strategy to manage your portfolio. Also, make sure you watch the entire video, as I may have identified a potential meme coin for this upcoming bull market. Let's jump right into it. So this is definitely a little bit of a tricky market to manage, but you do have to ultimately remember that we are in a bull market. Bitcoin dropped down below the $91,000 mark, and now we can see that we're pumping up to 96K. Now we can also see that altcoins have started to get a little bit of relief. Ethereum is now pumping on its Bitcoin pair, and the rest of the altcoin market is starting to follow ever so slightly. We could see that the rest of the crypto market, excluding the top 10 coins by market cap, is actually starting to perform quite well. As I was preparing to film this video, this was actually a red candle that has now since turned green. Now, we experienced some rejection at the $350 billion mark, and the reason why this is important is because it tells you how all altcoins are doing outside of the top 10. In a raging bull market, this is where most of the gains are typically found, in tokens that are smaller market caps. Back at the 74K peak in March, you can see that altcoins stalled out at this exact level, and now it is looking like we're going to be fueling higher past this level. But one thing I need you to understand is this does show the underperformance of altcoins against Bitcoin, because Bitcoin reached $74,000 back in March, and this is where altcoins rallied up to. Bitcoin right now is at $96,000, and only now are altcoins rallying back up to this level. If we break through this level, the next main area of resistance would be the $450 billion level, which was reached at the peak of the previous bull market, which is extremely bullish for all altcoin holders. Now, this area of resistance, it wouldn't surprise me if we did break through it from now until the end of January. However, this main area up here around the $450 billion mark will likely require a little bit more steam and new entrants into the market. To me, I think that this area will be breached once Bitcoin is around a 120K mark to fuel and drag up the rest of the altcoin market. Now, one thing to consider is that in the previous bull market, we reached the $3 trillion level for the total crypto market cap. We are already well above this level at around 3.25. My expectation is that the crypto market as a whole could potentially do a 2 to 3x from here, which would put the total crypto market cap over the $6 trillion mark. Look how much room that is on the chart. From the previous total market cap high at $3 trillion, others ended up reaching around the $500 billion mark in the previous cycle, which accounts for about 16% of the total crypto market cap. So what does that mean for this cycle if we end up reaching $6 trillion in total market cap? If we are to assume that the cryptocurrencies outside of the top 10 by market cap would occupy the same percentage of the total crypto market cap, which I don't think is that crazy of an expectation, because it can likely be higher as there are new tokens launching all the time as the cycles progress. But let's just assume that it's 16% again. That would put us at around a 1 trillion, maybe right under $1 trillion at a $6 trillion total crypto market cap, which provides a lot of room for growth for the cryptocurrencies outside of the top 10. The reason I'm mentioning this is because, yes, the top 10 are generally the safest altcoins to look towards in an altcoin season, but as we know, a lot of the opportunity can be found outside of these cryptocurrencies for higher potential multiples. Speaking of the top 10 cryptocurrencies, Solana just shattered Ethereum's monthly DEX volume all-time high record, reaching $121 billion this month. Ethereum's previous all-time high for DEX volume was $117 billion back in May 2021. This has some analysts calling for Solana to flip Ethereum's market cap, But unfortunately, I just don't believe that to be true. Look, we cannot deny the growth in Solana's ecosystem and overall volume. I mean, at this point, most of the meme coins that have been very successful this cycle have been traded on Solana. But if we take a look at the total crypto market caps, Solana's market cap would basically have to hit a 4x to be able to surpass that of Ethereum's. And that's assuming Ethereum doesn't even move. If you've been following my videos, you know that I do believe Ethereum will perform extremely well this bull market, despite the recent underperformance. We can already see that it's starting to pick up at around the $3,500 mark. So let's assume that Solana does potentially do a 4x in market cap and maybe hits close to $1,000 this bull market. It would not surprise me if Solana's at $1,000, Ethereum would likely be close to $10,000, given all the institutional interest in Ethereum specifically. In my opinion, Ethereum will likely always remain the number 2 crypto by market cap. So Bitcoin's had a little bit of a reversal and altcoins have been pulled up as well. The overall medium to long-term bullish news for Bitcoin simply does not stop. We can see that Brazil here are now proposing a strategic Bitcoin reserve, country after country after country. And I really don't see this trend stopping anytime soon. Something else that came out that's been crazy since my previous video is Charles Hodkinson's prediction for Bitcoin.
Governments are talking about a strategic reserve of Bitcoin and Bitcoin alone. It's their entry point. And perhaps in 5 or 10 and 15 years, that dialogue and narrative will change. But it is my belief that Bitcoin is going to go to $250,000 to $500,000 within the next 12 to 24 months.
Did you hear that? $250,000 to $500,000 within the next 12 to 24 months. That is a crazy prediction from the Cardano founder. I personally don't even believe that we will go that high. But hey, it's more than welcomed from my perspective. And he is right. Bitcoin really is the entry for all the institutions, for all the countries, and for all the companies that want to get involved into the crypto space. But what happens once they're tired of Bitcoin and they're ready to move up the risk curve? Well, welcome to the altcoin market. Naturally, they'll go to Ethereum first, then perhaps Solana, XRP, the bigger market cap altcoins. But eventually, that capital trickles down into the lower market cap altcoins. In the meantime, day by day, it's becoming more and more apparent that retail is indeed here. One of those metrics, but it's a little bit more of an unfortunate metric, is the fact that short-term Bitcoin holders are offloading Bitcoin at record loss levels. So usually this means that the new entrants into the market are selling their Bitcoins at a loss. And this is likely to be because a lot of them bought Bitcoin right around the top as we were about to surpass $100,000, which is typical retail behavior. And so as we dipped into the 95K level, a lot of them likely started selling, panicking that Bitcoin was going to crash. Then we started trickling a little bit lower below $95,000 on our way to 90K, and this likely fueled some more selling by the new entrants into the market. However, if you've been in this industry, you know how the Bitcoin game works. 30% dips are more than normal. 20% dips are more than normal. And I mean, this was only a 10% dip. Realistically, this is nothing. And we do have some bigger thought leaders in the space that think we could dip quite a bit further, one of them being Rand from Crypto Banter. We can see here that his target is around the $77,800 level, right around the CME gap. And if we break that level, he's expecting $73,000, which would technically make sense because that is the previous all-time high that we have yet to retest. Ever since smashing through that all-time high, we've just exploded to the upside. So yes, in the short term, things are looking positive. We got a nice bounce off the 90K level, but you shouldn't write off any kind of bigger dips, and make sure to not panic if and when they do come. Something else that I want to bring up, which is showing that there are indeed some eyes on the altcoin market and Ethereum in particular, is the fact that the ETH CME futures open interest hit an all-time high. This indicates that there are a lot more eyes onto Ethereum, and naturally that flows down into the altcoin market. Now, will this be sustained? We're not sure yet. My prediction is still that altcoins as a whole will underperform Bitcoin as we head into the new year, but then it will be the time for Ethereum to really start picking up speed, leading the rest of the altcoin market into a bullish 2025. In the meantime, because of this, Bitcoin dominance is still in an uptrend, although we have had 2 red weeks in a row now. Now, just because I'm expecting Bitcoin dominance to continue to increase into the end of the year, does this mean that you just shouldn't accumulate any altcoins? No, of course not. Your higher conviction altcoins should always be on your radar to start DCAing into. If this is truly the bull market that we are expecting, you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all these dips. And when it comes to altcoins and how to identify which ones are strongest, you have to understand this concept. I found this tweet by Dan Crypto Trades that resonates exactly with what I'm thinking. So corrections like these are perfect to figure out the likely outperformers once a low time frame bottom is found. Generally, the strongest coins are also the first ones to bounce back and often the ones that held up the strongest during the correction itself. From there on out, it's just a matter of bidding the strength or patiently waiting for a higher low to be made. This tends to work well in bull trends. If you're in a ranging environment, this isn't ideal. Clearly, we are in a bull trend since breaking that 73K all-time high and setting new all-time highs day after day after day until we found that local top around the $99,850 mark. But what Dan is getting at here, and what I've been trying to convey to you guys, is the fact that any kind of dips in such a bullish trend are seen as opportunities. And one thing I need to make extremely clear, because I've seen a lot of people make this mistake in a bull market, and that mistake is to rotate their winning altcoins into the losing altcoins in hopes that the losing altcoin will catch up. Let me just give you an example. Let's say we have cryptocurrency 1 that over the span of 6 months has gone up 500%. Then we have cryptocurrency 2 that over that same time period has only gone up 8%, as an example. A lot of people will think, this next coin will likely catch up to my winning coin, and so they end up rotating their winning coin into the losing coin, only to see that their winner continues to outperform for the rest of the market. What I'm trying to get at is that if you found a winning altcoin that has increased significantly, and during Bitcoin dips, it doesn't correct as severely as the rest of the altcoin market, that is likely going to be a solid pick for the entirety of the bull market. Now, of course, there's different narratives like meme coins, AI, RWAs, all of that stuff. But if you do have one coin in this category and it's performing well, the odds are that it will likely keep on performing for the rest of the bull market. We're not seeing the same kind of capital rotation as we have been seeing in the previous bull market cycles. And so it's important that if you find a winner, stick to it until you reach levels that you start taking profits at. Now, those levels are ultimately up to you, but I would highly recommend that you do have a strategy for each cryptocurrency that you're involved with and make sure that you start dollar cost averaging out of the market. Because the reality is that once we get into that crazy bullish mania phase into 2025, you'll likely get so euphoric about your portfolio total that you'll completely forget to even take profits. And if you do remember, it's very likely that you start moving the goalpost further and further and further. I've done this myself, and it is not a mistake that you want to make. This isn't the market to act like a chill guy and just go with the flow. You need to make sure that your strategy is set, and you need to be firm with yourself in taking profits. Because the worst thing that can possibly happen is that you see your token do a 10x only to round trip those profits into the bear market. And now that I'm talking about this, another thing that comes to mind immediately is that you need to remember the number one rule to never marry an altcoin. If your altcoin performs well, amazing. Begin to take profits once you hit the levels that you were going for. But if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, Bitcoin is truly the only currency that has stood the test of time and that will continue to do so. As we're seeing now, strategic national reserves, companies, institutions, the rest of altcoins, especially the ones out of the top 10, are not guaranteed to stick around from one cycle to the next. I'll give you a perfect example. We talked several times on this channel about Chill Guy, which is a meme token that we called at around the $40 million market cap. Now, just today, it hit $700 million in market cap. But do I really think that this meme will be around in years to come? It is highly unlikely. And of course, there's a few outliers that kind of come back and perform well, like Dogecoin. But for the most part, over a long enough period of time, altcoins will always underperform Bitcoin. There's new coins every cycle, there's new outperformers, but over the long term, they always go back to the same roots, and that is the root of underperforming Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the king, remember that, and make sure that you're securing your profits from altcoins when the time comes and have that strategy in place. Don't let your emotions take control. Now, on the topic of altcoins, you know my general thesis. I think that they will underperform Bitcoin from now until the end of the year. But I am always on the lookout for new potential cryptocurrencies that can maybe outperform in a shorter period of time. This one isn't necessarily a shorter period of time, but I do think, given the recent meme narratives and how the market has been coiling up into the end of this year, in my opinion, this meme coin will likely make it to several hundreds of millions of dollars in market cap, as we've seen with a lot of animal coins this cycle. Sometimes it still baffles me that I'm regularly talking about animal coins, but whenever I identify potential opportunities for myself, I of course share it with you guys. So without further ado, the meme coin that I'm currently looking at is called Billy. Now you can see that Billy has actually been around for quite a while, since June of this year, and it made its way all the way up to 22 cents at a market cap of just below $90 million. And right now, Billy is at 0.05 at a market cap of just below $50 million. Now, the reason why this piqued my attention is not just because it's a dog, and I mean, a cute one at that, but because I have seen their community starting to grow a lot organically, and the fact that they're not getting as much visibility as they should because it seems that their Twitter got suspended. They're currently in the process of fixing this, but the reason why I see this as a more positive sign is because they're not getting as much visibility as they generally should with a meme coin like this on Twitter. Something else to consider is that today, Billy USD perpetual contract went live on Bybit, which is obviously a massive exchange for such a small meme coin. Now, I've noticed a little bit of a trend with these meme coins. First, the exchanges go ahead and list them on perpetuals, and then eventually they list them on spots. Now, we haven't seen any large exchanges list Billy as spots yet, but when they do get listed on spot, we can see what happens. Bybit listed Chill Guy on spot, Crypto.com listed Chill Guy on spot, and that was around these levels where Chill Guy went and eventually did a 3x from the moment that these exchanges listed it. Now, obviously, nothing is guaranteed, and centralized exchanges, don't have to list any token they don't want to list. But the fact that a perpetual contract was listed is usually the first sign that they're at least looking into it. And so this is likely a meme coin that I will hold well into 2025. Of course, make sure to do your own research. This is not financial advice, but this is just something that I myself am personally looking at. I honestly think that 2024 was only the beginning of the meme coin narrative. And another indicator that told me that this could potentially be a good opportunity is the fact that it's kind of gone under the radar. I remember when it came out, there was a lot of traction, a lot of people were talking about it, and now all of a sudden it's slowly started to pick up a little bit organically. I don't think for myself that this will be a quick flip. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be holding this well into the new year as meme coins continue to pick up once altcoins hopefully start outperforming Bitcoin into 2025. I do think that this could potentially be a $200 to $300 million market cap token. One last thing that I'd like to bring up, and that is to do with portfolio allocation. I will likely film a longer in-depth video about this, but I've had a lot of people ask me how I separate my crypto portfolio. And so what I can share with you quickly before the in-depth video comes out is the fact that 80% of my crypto holdings are done on spot in high conviction plays, and 20% is me essentially trading leverage or speculating in meme coins. That 80% is something that I hold for at least a year, well into 2025, where I look to sell near the bull market top. And that 20% is used to trade and make profits for smaller time frames. In one of my upcoming videos, I will be talking specifically about the 2 core portfolio strategies that you need to consider to be successful in this bull market. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that very important video. All in all, Bitcoin has bounced from the 90K area. Altcoins are slowly start to performing, although I am expecting Bitcoin to continue taking the lead into the new year. And then into 2025, I believe it will be Ethereum and then altcoin season. A lot of good news coming out, lots of countries adopting a strategic Bitcoin national reserve, and it seems like we are gearing up for what will be an absolutely explosive 2025. I thoroughly hope you enjoyed the content. I'll see you in the next one.